Today we are talking about how to pee less at night when you're sleeping. I know this is a very important topic if you're here watching, and I want to tell you I have a lot of personal experience with this. So not only am I a physical therapist, but also I have been through this myself. So having a prolapse, I had to at some point count how many times I was peeing during the day. It was 27 times, and I was going 5 times in the half hour before going to bed just so I could hopefully sleep through the night. So I know how it feels to be in this position. I know how it feels to want to be able to get through the night and have a good sleep and not have to wake up all the time to go to the bathroom. So that's what I want to talk about today. I'm going to give you the top 3 tips that can help you sleep better and not have to urinate so much at night. But also keep in mind, especially as we age, over the age of 40, it's very normal. It is considered absolutely normal to get up at least 1 time a night to go to the bathroom. So if you're waking up just once, that is okay. I know we would love to sleep through the night, but if you're waking up only once to go pee in the middle of the night, that is considered normal. And hopefully these tips can help with that as well. But I also really want to reach out to those of you who are getting up 2, 3, even 4 times at night to urinate. We can help with that, okay? So these are my top 3 tips to help with that situation. One is fairly self-explanatory, but I want to talk about it anyway, and that is liquid intake, okay? So at night, try to stop drinking liquids an hour before you go to bed. Again, I know it seems self-explanatory, but I have to tell myself this over and over again. I love to have a mug of hot tea at night, and I find as long as I do it earlier in the night, it can help a lot. So make sure you're staying hydrated during the day and not trying to pack all of that in at night, okay? So an hour before going to bed, try to shut down that fluid intake, which means you have to think about it earlier in the day to make sure you stay hydrated, all right? So again, it's a self-explanatory one, but it's one we kind of forget to do, so make sure that you're checking that box. So now let's get into the ones that are super important that you might not understand as much. So tip number 2 is to actually do your pelvic floor exercises in bed before falling asleep at night. You can do these just laying down in bed. I do them while I'm reading actually, and they have made such a difference. So what you do is you do your pelvic floor exercises in bed at night before falling asleep. Just lay on your back. These are what you would call your Kegel exercises, but us in the physical therapy world really like to call them pelvic floor exercises. And I am going to give you a link above to my favorite way to do those exercises, okay? So you lay in bed at night, just again while you're reading, and do 5 minutes of your pelvic floor exercises. And what that does is it helps to turn on that entire system to remind those muscles to work efficiently as they should. It helps a little bit to lift the bladder if you have some prolapse issues going on, and it really will help over time build those muscles. But not only that, I find that it helps me quite a bit eliminate that feeling of needing to go. And that is, at least for me, what was always the biggest problem is I always felt like I had to urinate. I always had that urge to pee. And so I would get up every time I felt the need, trying to get it all out. And this process of doing just the 5 minutes at night before I fall asleep, it helps that feeling go away. Okay, so it can help a lot. So that's my second tip, is spend those 5 minutes in bed at night, just laying on your back, doing your pelvic floor exercises, and it can help a lot. My third tip, and this is probably the most important and also I think the hardest habit to break, is you need to stop doing what we call the just in case pee, okay? What that is it's going to the bathroom just in case, right? Right before you leave the house, right before you go on a walk, right before you go to bed, you have the habit of going to urinate because you know you want to try to get it all out so that you can hold it as long as possible. And again, I understand completely the want and the need to do that. Like I said, I truly was going pee 5 times in the last half hour before falling asleep. 5 times. And I would always get some out because I was trying to get as much out as possible on just the off chance I could sleep a little bit longer at night. But let me tell you what happens when we get into that habit. Nothing good happens. What happens is you start telling your body, well, let me start here. What happens is you are urinating and trying to get it all out, right? So you are going. But what happens then is you are telling your body to start to sense that it is full when it isn't really, okay? So you start to have the feeling that you have to go when you have very little urine in your bladder. You are desensitizing your bladder, basically. So it tells you that it's full when it isn't. So you are actually making yourself have the feeling of having to go by doing that just in case pee all the time. All right, so you need to start to break that habit so that you don't actually have the feeling of having to go all the time. And I know it's a hard thing to do. So this is what I did. I knew that I still really wanted to try to get as much out as possible if I was leaving the house. Like, that was important to me. If I was going on a walk with the kids or whatever. So I said, you know what? I can though start to break this habit if I'm staying in the house, which means at night I'm not going anywhere. So let me try to break this habit. So my plan, what I started to do is I would make sure that I went to the bathroom an hour before bedtime. So that's important. Do it earlier in the night. Like, don't hold it for 4 hours and then suddenly try to get it all out. It doesn't work when we have pelvic floor and bladder issues. Go an hour before going to bed. Then let yourself go one more time before going to sleep. So for me, I'd go an hour before bed and then maybe like 15 minutes. I would just do it then. And then I would make myself stay in bed and not get up again. And it was hard because I had the feeling I had to go. And I knew I could get up and get more out, right? Because I could always get a little bit out. But again, I knew, okay, I have to break this habit because I'm just telling my body that it's full when it's not. And I'm going to always have the feeling of having to go. So I would go for an hour beforehand. I would go 15 minutes beforehand. And then I would lay in bed and I would do my pelvic floor exercises and I would turn off the light and be like, so be it. I'm going to make myself fall asleep even though I have this feeling, and I'm going to see what happens. And yes, I would wake up at night and have to go. But this is what happened over time. I started to change. By making myself do that, I actually now have much less feeling at night like I have to go. Okay, so that is really important. And then now I try to keep the same habit when I'm leaving the house because I built that endurance. I've changed that feeling a little bit. So now I keep that in mind. If I know I'm going to have a big outing away from the house, I will make sure I go an hour beforehand, right? And then I'll make sure I go before we go. And then, yes, of course I have a plan. Hopefully there's a bathroom if I have to use it, so-and-so. But over time, it's important to change that habit. And definitely don't make yourself go if you don't have a feeling. If you don't have a feeling, do not go near that bathroom, okay? But right now we're talking at night. So at night, like I said, go once or twice in that last hour, no problem. Get as much out as you can, and then lay in bed, do your pelvic floor exercises, and then turn off the light, okay? And do this for a month. Do it for a month and see how it changes for you. I want you to feel more empowered. I know what it's like to feel like your bladder controls your life. And I decided I wanted to control my life a little bit more than my bladder was. So I've taken some of that power back. And then there's other resources out there as well. There's many other things you can look at, but that gives you my top 3 tips to try that are easy, no barrier of entry. Just do it at home. See how it feels. I hope it helps you take a little bit of power back. Thanks so much for stopping by. Remember, subscribe to my channel and you'll be notified every time a new video comes up. Like and comment on this video and let me know what you thought. You could also always come over to jessicavalantpilates.com to find all the resources I have for living a healthy lifestyle, including full-length workout videos, healthy recipes, and a community I would love for you to be a part of. So I'll see you there.